amigos servoidero. Dino alkanan schnus. Servoidos min salroid. Hello there, everyone, and welcome to the Overcast, your joke-making, fun-having pop culture podcast. I am your host, Justin, aka Oversoul.
And I am your co-host, Nick, aka the Vaping Fiend.
Didn't change it yet, huh? Okay.
Not yet.
And like always, we are bringing you sunshine on the cloudy day, and yada yada, and so on and so forth. You know, not a lot of clouds lately, but it's starting to get cold, starting to get a little chilly. You can tell fall is here.
Yeah.
You can tell that it's the autumn time. The leaves are falling.
Yes.
The temperature is falling. And, but you know, the climate is still completely unstable, so some days it feels like fall, and other days it feels like summer again. But, anyways, with that being the case, along with fall comes spooky season. So this will be this season's Halloween episode. And, matter of fact, fun thing, I think as we're sitting here recording this, as of right now, the time is 8:35 p.m. on October 19th. Saturday Night Live will be doing their Halloween episode tonight as well, later, live.
Very nice.
Yeah, hosted by Michael Keaton, actually.
Nice.
So you can probably expect some Beetlejuice skits.
Oh, I need to watch this episode.
Yeah, it'll be on Peacock tomorrow.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah. Oh, and Billie Eilish is the musical guest, too. I like her.
Nice. I enjoy a good Billie Eilish song.
Yeah. So, she's got a great stage performance, too. She's been on the show before, and she's good in skits.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, she was in the episode Kate McKinnon came back to host last season.
Okay.
And she was good in that. So, anywho, with it being spooky season and all that, the topic of this episode, we're going to give it away a little early. We're going to be doing another Would You Rather, but it's not going to be competitive like before this time, folks. No, this time, I've got a couple of special lists I found on the internet. We're going to be doing, just for fun, a horror-themed Would You Rather. Really fun questions like which of these, horror villains would you rather be chased by, that kind of thing, like which one do you think you have a higher chance surviving against. Interesting stuff like that. Would you rather spend a night in, the motel from The Shining or the motel from Psycho, that kind of thing.
Right.
So yeah, we're gonna have some great ones. So and our media corner this time is going to be primarily, I would say, 95% horror focused as well. So,
yes.
So this is going to be one of those episodes. So for those of you who aren't big fans of the horror stuff, my apologies. But that's the game. It might still be fun, though. The topic might still be fun. I know it's horror, would you rather, but would you rather is still fun, regardless.
Yes.
So,
yes, it is.
It's... But anyways, before all that, though, in the not horror section of the show, our life updates, or at least I hope there's no horror in that.
Bro,
you've had a lot going on in your life lately, so why don't you tell me and the audience all about it?
Oh my gosh, dude, I've got a hefty life updates section this episode. So, where to start? Let's see. October 12th was the home opener for the Iowa Wild. So that was our first Iowa Wild game. So my daughter and we got our first game pucks, and they gave us like a certificate to go with it with our names.
Nice.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. there was a decent hockey fight at that game, so I'm not gonna complain. October 13th was the kids' kickoff game against the Manitoba Moose. They played more kids focused music during the times that they played music. They had games out in the concourse. Um, there was a table that had a game of plinko where if you either win a prize or win a piece of candy, and I got to do it myself, and I got a little stuffed Beetlejuice. Sarah got
Oh,
a little stuffed Gizmo from Gremlins, and my daughter chose Laffy Taffy.
I just want to point out, by the way, we've both said Beetlejuice once on the show already now, and I'm not entirely certain of the rules, but I think that means we both only get one more of those, and then
Beetlejuice.
and then we. Okay, now you don't get any more after that. You don't get. I don't know if it counts if it's back and forth. I think you yourself have to say it 3 times, but you can't. Now
Beetlejuice.
yeah. See, now you done fucked up. You're the guy that talks about Fight Club, aren't you?
Maybe. Speak, Speaking of, okay, dude, okay, the I had to laugh, and I don't know where my daughter got this from, but before we moved, my
Okay.
daughter looks at me one day and says, "Daddy, have you ever heard about Pillow Fight Club?" I'm like, "No, sweetie, what's Pillow Fight Club?" And her response was, "We don't talk about Pillow Fight Club."
Oh God.
I'm like, where did she learn this reference? I'm not mad. I'm proud. But where did she learn this?
Yeah, someone definitely invented a kid-friendly reference for that, but that's insane.
Yes.
That just goes to show that movie's cultural impact.
Yeah.
Such a great movie. Anyways, though.
Yes. um and then this past Wednesday.
Oh, by the way, Mr. Ballsy with your Beetlejuice, I bet you won't say Bloody Mary in the mirror in the bathroom in the dark 3 times.
Fuck that.
Exactly.
Same with Candyman.
There you go.
Um um but no, this past Wednesday there was a uh Iowa Wild 365 VIP only event, and this is something that they do every year for new season ticket holders and their guests, and they basically host like a training camp event where you go and you get a behind the scenes look of what it's like on game day for the team and for the production crew and the the equipment manager. And what was really cool about all of this, we got to go up into the production box. That was really cool. And a lot of the stuff that um he was talking about, I've heard you talk about, like, one of the cardinal sins of broadcasting is you never want to leave any dead air. And that's something that I've heard you uh talk about as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was pretty cool. Like, a lot of this stuff I've heard, like, and then seeing the area where all the, like, the video clips for all of the different like moments where they play different clips during the hockey game on the big video board. Speaking of, one of the clips is from Inside Out 2, where Joy goes, "Let's play some hockey."
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm like, oh, that was pretty cool. That's pretty recent too. So I thought that was really cool that they cut that snippet out for these games.
Yes. That is cool, but at the same time, sometimes it gives off, you know, that meme where Steve Buscemi's dressed up like a high school kid with the skateboard, and he's like, "Greetings, fellow kids." You know, and
Yes.
sometimes it gives that vibe too.
Yes. Man, it was really cool. My daughter got to blow the push the button that blows the big horn for whenever the Iowa Wild score. So
Ooh.
that was pretty cool.
Meow, 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 meow.
Yes. Yes. Like a big old train horn.
Yeah, foghorn type deal.
Yeah. It was pretty cool. Um but I've got something fresh on my mind. Sarah and I made a little trip this weekend to Kansas City for a live show of one of our favorite podcasts, Small Town Murder. And seeing these guys live was really fucking cool. They did a murder case that took place in Parisburg, Virginia. Now, Parisburg is spelled Pearisburg.
Okay.
And they made a big deal about how it was spelled because James kept saying, "This is dangerously close to Penisburg." It's so fucking funny.
For some reason, I thought that was gonna go a different direction, like jokes about how there's not a lot of French people or something like that.
No, no, no. They did some. There was only one review, like how they do like reviews of the town in every episode, because there was only one review, one singular review of that town. They went through and looked up some of the restaurants that are in that town, and they did like a 45-minute segment, kind of like Your Stupid Opinion style, where they transitioned from one restaurant to another because there was the name of the second restaurant was in one of the reviews for the first restaurant, because that customer left a 1-star review that said, I get better service at Friends and Family. Friends and Family is another restaurant in Parisburg, Virginia. So they easily transitioned, segued from whatever, I forget what the name of the first restaurant was, but they transitioned from that first restaurant to Friends and Family by way of that last review.
Okay. So
But it was pretty cool. They there was there's some pretty funny stuff.
what story did they tell for this live show?
So this guy, Lion Randall Smith. So yeah, it was Randall Smith in Parisburg, uh, Virginia, and he was a pervert. He basically looked like it kind of looked like John Wayne Gacy a little bit.
Okay.
But yeah, no, it
So like
was
he killed what, a wife and ex?
uh you know, it was kind of difficult hearing
Ah,
at times,
yeah.
because there was a couple of people sitting in front of us that wouldn't stop talking, and then someone in front of them stepped in to say something, and then she was a dick about it, and then they just kept going, and it was like there was times where I could only catch what they were saying when they weren't being so loud. Like when we are all grown adults, we came to listen to a murder story, not talk during the entire thing. Duh, like what the fuck?
Yeah, that's pretty fucked up.
It was it, I enjoyed what I could hear, but it was kind of difficult hearing and paying attention when you have two people in legit right in front of you that won't shut the fuck up.
That is unfortunate. What
Yeah.
assholes.
Yeah, no. Those were the scumbags of the show.
Yeah.
Oh, and the energy behind the entire crowd shouting, "Shut up and give me murder," was awesome. Shouting
Very
that, screaming that out loud with everyone live was awesome.
very nice.
Yes. And
And the
then they also did it when the entire crowd, whenever James goes, when they go to do the sentencing, "You sir may fuck off," and then however many years the sentencing is, the entire crowd went, "You sir may fuck off." It was awesome.
nice. Nice. An interactive show then, to a degree.
Yes, it was so much fun. But there was some places that we went to eat. There was some of the places that were recommended in the Your Stupid Opinions and Small Town Murder groups. We went to Jack Stack for lunch when we got into Kansas City. I went with the wings. She went with the Sarah went with the pork spare rib meal.
A
I
plate.
tried one of the ribs. Fall off the bone good.
Oh,
The
nice.
wings were amazing. Kansas City is famous for their barbecue. Oh my goodness.
Did you say it's called Jack Stack?
Jack Stack.
Jack Stack. That sounds like a place where you should get like a large plate of pancakes stacked on top of each other.
Dude,
Just
I
a
know,
stack of
right? That's what I
flapjacks.
was thinking too. No, it's a barbecue place, and it's a fancy barbecue place.
Feels like it should be called the Jack Shack. That well, nope, never mind. That sounds like something else. I'm gonna never mind. Nope, that's the other place down a little further down the street on the seedy side of town. That's the
That.
yeah.
And then this morning, after we checked out of our hotel, we ended up over in Kansas for breakfast at a place called Dagwoods.
Okay,
Um
now I'm starting to feel like these names are intentionally dirty. Like,
no, 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 definitely not. So Dagwoods is a little local diner, and they have their breakfast staple is called the Dagwood, and dude, I shit you not, like when I left that diner, I felt like I gained a couple pounds. This sandwich, it's on two pieces of Texas toast, eggs, hash browns, cheese, and on top of the Texas toast, smothered in homemade sausage gravy.
oh god, that sounds amazing.
Oh my dude, it was so good. And then Sarah ended up getting the cheeseburger club.
Mm.
That was their lunch staple. And then we went to the Kansas City Zoo.
Well,
Just
hold
yeah,
on, hold on. Though, um, I was just thinking for Dagwoods, how many like stupid teenagers do you think would like ask their friends to like meet up at Dagwoods in the morning for breakfast, and they'd be like, "Hey, bro, you want to grab some morning wood?" You know, yeah, I could go for some woods in the morning. You know, just like yeah,
yeah, I could see that. Yeah,
it's too easy. They make it too easy.
yeah,
Have better
that's
names.
fair.
Places need better names.
Yeah, it was
Um,
tasty though.
but anyways, yeah.
We sat at the breakfast bar.
So what's this about you revisiting your old friends at the reptile house?
No, I did not go into the reptile house this time. Dude, okay. So, we went to the Kansas City Zoo. We saw, let's see. There was a lot of different animals. Let's say one of my favorite animals that we saw was the oh, what am I thinking about? Before I get into this Kansas City Zoo, we went to this place called Science City
Mm-hmm.
after we went to Jack Stack. And it was inside Union Station in downtown Kansas City, and they had this giant portrait of Walt Disney up on the wall inside Union Station. So Science City is basically, for anybody that knows, um what the Museum of Science and Industry in Chicago entails. It's kind of like that, but more interactive, but lots more like a lot more like kid oriented stuff.
Okay.
Um, but it was fun. Like we there was a lot of there was a lot of adults there, like couples there on dates. It was pretty fun. Like they had a soundproof room that had this wheel of things. It was a wheel of notes, and it was like a mind trick. Like you push the touch screen, and it does all of these notes, and it sounds like it's going up and up and up, and it never stops.
Oh
And it
wow.
tells you to choose the highest note, and then when you think you have the highest note, you don't, because it gives you the answer, and it says there is no highest note. It just it's really weird. I don't know how else to explain it, but it's interesting.
Sounds
But
like
they
one of
also
those
had,
things you have to experience to understand.
yes, audio illusion.
Yeah.
It was an audio illusion. But there's also like they there was a record button, and we was like, shut up and give me murder, and it played it in that, and then it played it as if I were saying it backwards. Herder me vignibush.
Oh wow. Okay.
It was pretty cool. And I ended up getting Sarah a little stuffed penguin from the gift shop that was holding a little moon that says "I love you to the moon and back."
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, Kansas City Zoo. One of my favorite animals that we saw,
By the
and
way,
it le-
with the power of editing, I can actually make you say that backwards. But maybe I already did. You don't know. You won't know till you listen to the finished product.
oh, I don't know. Herder me vignibush. Say
Stay
the
tuned.
the right the red panda looked like he was just waking up from his nightly slumber, because we had just gotten to the Kansas City Zoo um as it was opening, but they had tigers. They had a tiger. They had tree kangaroos, red macaws, sloths. I'm not sure what kind of squirrel that was, but they had the the I forget the orange tamarins, the tamarin monkeys,
Oh, okay, yeah.
golden lion tamarin is what it was. Yeah, it's so cute. They had a bunch of people dressed up as Ghostbusters at the Kansas City Zoo for their Halloween thing. I was wearing my pot leaf hat because I wore it to the Small Town Murder show the night before, and the lady dressed up as the Stay Puft Jet Marshmallow guy looked at me and said, "I like your hat. Do you have any extra?"
Nice. Nice.
She's like, "Do you want a piece of candy?" I'm like, "Yes, please." She's like, "We're all kids inside.
Yeah, she
We love
definitely
we accept kids of all ages."
she definitely stays puffed.
Yes.
As in puff
But
puff.
no, they didn't just
uh,
have those ghosts. They didn't just have those Ghostbusters in that area. They had some of the Ghostbusters were walking around with their proton packs on their backs. It was pretty fucking cool.
you know what though? Missed opportunity for a pun costume, and they should have called themselves, because it's a zoo. They should have called themselves the Goat Busters. That would have been
That's not you're not wrong. That's awesome because they did have goats at that zoo, and the exhibit was called the Billy Goat's Gruff.
that's right.
They
Yep.
had a okay. So I'm gonna embarrass myself a little for a second. Um, so
Nothing out of the ordinary on this show.
you're not wrong. um, so they had this building called Stingray Bay
Oh,
where you could feed a stingray. Well, their credit card machine was down and they needed to feed the stingrays anyways. So this feeding was free. So anybody who wanted to feed the stingrays could feed the stingrays for free. Well,
nice.
I was handed a squid to put in the water in my hand, and the stingray came up and booped my hand and spooked me. It booped my hand with its nose, and it spooked me, and I dropped the squid. So the guy fished out the squid, and Sarah took the squid and fed it to the stingray.
That's kind of funny. But hey, you know what? It is the animal that killed Steve Irwin, so maybe
Yeah, no,
The,
there was a say they. I'm sure that the stingrays that they had in that area had their stingers removed because they wouldn't let people put their hands in water where they know where they're gonna get hurt. You know.
right, right.
But yeah,
Oh yeah.
Sarah has had her hand in the water for a hot minute, and all the stingrays were coming over to her.
Food. Animals love food. That's the way to
Yes.
any animal's heart. Keep them fed long enough, and you might survive.
Right. That there was there was they have an aquarium now. So they had a shark in the aquarium. They had these cool looking eels, a lobster. They had a taco toucan, elephants, cheetahs, warthogs, leopards. Okay, so they had this bird called the battler eagle, spelled Batleur eagle. There was one of them that looked like it was hurt. And Sarah is saying, like, that doesn't that one look? I look down and there's a sign. It says, Lucia often chooses to lie on the ground with a wing extended. It's a common behavior for her. She's not injured. She's just attention seeking. That is hilarious. They had to put a disclaimer on the exhibit for this animal because it looks like it's playing hurt.
A real bird-brained bird, huh?
Yes. It's so cool. It was so funny.
That's definitely nature gives no fucks. Sometimes it'll just do its own thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Anyone who
It was
says
fun though.
anyone who says animals don't have distinct personalities is an idiot.
Yeah.
Like,
And then after we left the zoo, we made one more stop to one more restaurant, another recommended place from the Your Stupid Opinions Small Town Murder Groups. It's another barbecue place called Q39, and they had on their menu what they called best wings on the planet, and they had it doused in chipotle barbecue sauce. Oh my god. Dude,
oh my
these
gosh.
wings were amazing. And then Sarah got the brisket meal with the and she had some burnt ends too. Those were pretty good. Oh my god. Man, so much. And then we got back from Kansas City at like 3 hours ago. Dude.
Yeah, so like when you said fresh on your mind, you weren't kidding. It was like,
Oh no,
damn.
I was not kidding. No, this was all like within the last 24 hours.
Well, damn.
It was so much fun. Like I I'm glad that Sarah and I were able to go on this trip. We definitely needed it.
Yeah, sounds like you had a hell of a time. Holy shit.
Oh yeah, and then my daughter was having a blast the whole time we were gone. She got a bike with training wheels, and she spent some time with Sarah's mom, um uh riding her bike up and down the back sidewalk at Sarah's mom's house.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Oh yeah. What's been going on with you? I know you got some exciting stuff to talk about.
Oh, well, to some degree, yeah. So, obviously, I haven't been having, fun cross country trek adventures like that, but I have, yeah, I've been exploring and visiting other fantastical worlds, both through my imagination and the magic of media. um,
Yes.
I've been like playing so many games and watching so much shit lately that I have enough stuff for this episode and the next one we record for our media corner. So
Okay.
it's gonna be some of the stuff I'm going to talk about in the life updates here is going to be a bit of a preview for stuff that will probably get a full media corner entry in the next episode.
Okay.
But yesterday I went to GameStop and picked up the new Mario Party game, which I've played a little bit of, and it's really cool so far.
Nice.
The it is I played around against computers on normal and I won by the skin of my teeth, man. I was getting my ass kicked for a while there. And granted
I
a lot of it
bet.
was some tomfoolery shit, but like damn, I was like, damn, they pumped up the difficulty in this one, or the random bullshit that screws you over happens more frequently.
Mm-hmm.
Um but there is a sort of, I don't know what they call it, a campaign mode, I would say, in this game.
Oh, nice.
there's this mode where you choose your character, you go into the plaza, and then you can go on the air balloon to go do the regular boards. But there's a mode where you're kind of going around to the different boards and actually helping set them up for the party for when you play in party mode. So you're
Hmm.
doing like different quests, bringing items to characters, playing little mini games to earn mini stars, and then at the end of each one there's like a boss battle, and the characters that you've helped on the board will come and help you with the boss fight. So
Okay.
it's very interesting how they handle it. So basically, there is a sort of pseudo story mode in this game that you can play separate from the normal gameplay mode, and
Hmm.
also you have to unlock it, but there is a pro mode in this game where you can play entirely on skill. It removes all the random shit and makes it entirely skill based. So there will be nothing like you can't pay coins to steal a star from someone with a boo, or there's no chance time, or like stars can't be stolen, coins can't be stolen. It's all entirely skill based mode if you want it.
Okay.
It turns off all the randomization and the stuff Mario Party's known for, and makes it more competitive, more
Okay.
professional. So that's a mode you can turn on once you unlock it. There's a couple boards you have to unlock. This game has basically what I would consider a in-game battle pass that you unlock different stuff like decorations for your plaza and different boards to play on and stuff by earning in-game achievements. This game has in-game achievements you unlock by hitting certain criteria, and when you unlock those achievements, it ranks you up on the in-game battle pass, and then you unlock more shit to use in the game. Uh,
Interesting.
yeah, it's a very yeah. It surprised me a little bit, but yeah, I haven't played a whole lot of it yet, so that's all I've got so far. But I'll do a more in depth review next time in the next episode. I also last week went and picked up Metaphor Refantasio, which I also pre-ordered. This is the game that when it was first announced at Summer Game Fest this year, I thought was going to be Persona 6 and then wasn't, but I was still excited for it.
Uh huh.
It basically is Persona 6. For all intents and purposes, this is a Persona game in a high fantasy Lord of the Rings type setting. And
Okay.
I am fucking addicted to it, man. It is so good. The gameplay loop is addicting as always. The turn-based combat, but they do something different in this one where if you're a high enough level and enemies on the map are weak enough, you can just kill
Mm-hmm.
them out. You can kill them on the map, and like you just run up, you hit them, and they die instantly, and you get the experience and items without having to go into combat. So
Interesting.
but if they are like, your level or higher, then you hit them to stun them and you can start the fight with an advantage. Stuff like that. Because it is turn based combat and it exploits weaknesses like if they're weak against fire, ice, water. The Persona games are basically Pokemon for adults, like, or edgy teenagers, like,
Okay.
in a lot of ways. Um, and for people, it's Pokemon for people who like anime. Um, and yeah, but this game is more of a like a medieval fantasy type setting. It's more of a classic Final Fantasy story where there's an evil guy who killed the king and the prince and he's trying to take the throne, but then at the king's funeral, a magic big head in the sky that is the king's magic declares that there's going to be a contest where everybody has to where anyone can become the new king based on popularity, based on how the citizens like and so that's what the game is basically about, is your character and your party racing to gain the favor of the people to become the next king, but really you're doing it to get close to the king's assassin so you can take him down.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, you can't take him down now because anyone whose face is up on the big rock as a prospective next king is protected by the king's magic. There's a scene where someone tries to assassinate him and these magical chains come out and bind him and stop him. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. It's really cool. I'm loving it so far, though. So that I'll have a more in-depth review for probably in an episode or two. It might take a while because that one is, a big long RPG. So
Yeah.
I want to get deeper into it before I can give it like a full review. But Mario Party is a smaller game, so that one we'll probably dig into more in the next episode. But
Right.
um, And outside of those, I'm still just keep watching Agatha all along, and I'm still on the animated Clone Wars series in my rewatch of all the Star Wars stuff. So, and
Okay.
that's getting even better. That's getting really good. Also, I heard there's in Ahsoka, the live action Ahsoka show, there's some flashbacks to the Clone Wars, and Hayden Christensen is in those flashbacks as Anakin. Um,
Huh.
so so that's kind of interesting. I'm excited to see that when I get to that part of the series. Um, yeah, so that's where I'm at on all of that. Besides that, not a whole lot. Same podcasts and all that fun. Oh, speaking of which, though, I did guest star on another podcast.
I
Um,
saw that. Yeah, you sent me the link to the replay.
Yeah, so it's a live streamed video podcast called Goes Nowhere Does Nothing, hosted by a good friend of mine named Adam. He lives out in Wisconsin. He goes by Cyclops because he's only got one eye. Accident, he lost an eye
Hmm.
a long time ago.
He's
Um,
embracing the name.
Yes, exactly. And him and a bunch of his buddies. The cast kind of fluctuates based on who's available each time. They get on there and chat with him. Of the two other people who were supposed to be there, only one was able to show up when I was a guest on the show because the other one was sick. But he might be joining us for our 50th episode where we talk
Adam?
about. Yes, yeah, he
Nice. That's
I told
exciting.
him what our plan was for our 50th episode special, which if I time it right should also be the season 2 finale, and he said he'd like to get on that because he's also a big fan of, Family Guy, South Park and all that stuff.
Okay.
Um so yeah, for our Cartoon Wars episode, he'll definitely be there.
Okay.
So
Perfect. I'm
yep, yep.
excited.
Yeah, me too. I'm still doing my research by watching the Family Guy DVDs with commentary on. so, um, getting a lot of juicy stuff out of that. But anyways, yeah, that's more or less what's been happening with me lately. Oh, and then work. A crazy thing happened the other day where one night I was closing and we noticed it was starting to get a little smoky in there, and it was like 15 minutes to close at this point. And we realized the exhaust fan above the deep fryer wasn't working all of a sudden.
Hmm.
So it was causing, the smoke coming out of the deep fryer to fog up the place. And the manager that was closing that night was basically like, "We're about to close in 15 minutes. This is a problem for tomorrow."
Oh
Well, let me tell
Jesus.
you,
Okay.
it definitely was tomorrow's problem. um,
Did you hear about
because
it?
yeah. Now I wasn't there for when all this happened, but I heard about it later when I came in. Because even though she did call and tell the head manager what was going on, the shift lead manager that came in to open the next day had no idea. There
Oh
was
no.
no note or anything. So they went to get everything started, not realizing the exhaust fan wasn't working. Next thing they know, the whole restaurant is just filled with smoke, fire alarms going off. They had to
Oh
open the door to get
no.
the fire department actually shows up, of course, because they're supposed to.
Yeah.
They come running in, and they're like, "What's going on? Where's the fire?" And one of our employees who was off work drove by and saw the fire trucks and came in to make sure everyone was okay. It was a whole
Okay.
hubbubaloo with stuff going on. You know,
God
uh,
damn.
yeah, it's an absolute circus sometimes. Also, that one guy I told you about before that a couple episodes back that I said was just all kinds of fucking up constantly and
Yeah.
arrogant as hell. He
Yeah.
had, from what I heard, he had an absolute meltdown the other day. They corrected him on something and he just lost his shit. He went on and
Oh.
on about how everyone's always telling me what I'm doing wrong and blah blah blah, and he had a meltdown and walked out. He's still somehow working there, but yeah,
How?
he didn't have that day. So, so they were basically like, just don't correct him on shit anymore. He obviously can't handle it. He's gonna, you know, it's too not worth the fight, I guess. So,
Can't they just fire him?
Yeah, you would think, but you know what? It's hard enough to get people to work for a place like this when they're only paying $14 an hour. I think it's like uh we're a little understaffed right now, so
Fair enough.
we just lost one guy to the Air Force. He left to go join the Air Force, and then not too long ago, we used to have two shift lead managers, and one of them quit. So now we only have one shift lead and three whole managers total, and
Okay.
so there's someone training to be a manager. But yeah, there's a lot going on. But
Sounds like it.
yeah, but that more or less does it for what's going on in my life right now. I honestly, genuinely can't think of anything else. Oh wait, yeah, that's right. I've been watching some. Well, obviously, I'm still watching SNL. I give during the SNL season, I like to give little SNL updates in my life updates. You may have noticed it's just kind of a
Yes.
thing for me when it's happening during the fall. And we had the Gene Smart episode premiere. There's been two since that. Nate Bargatze, the comedian, and Ariana Grande hosted the last episode, and oh god, that was fucking amazing. She's always hilarious when she hosts. She does such a good job. Um,
All
so
right.
far, so far, out of all three episodes this season, the Ariana Grande episode is the funniest, the best one so far, in my opinion.
Okay.
She's great. And Coldplay was it Coldplay for that one? I don't remember. Um, but I know I know that in one of these two episodes, I think it was the Nate Bargatze one. So you know how for their cold open political skits they've brought back Maya Rudolph and Andy Samberg and Dana Carvey
Yeah.
um, to play Kamala and her husband Doug, and Dana Carvey plays Joe Biden, and Jim Gaffigan plays Tim Walz. And then
Yeah.
on the other side of things, they have cast member James Austin Johnson as Trump, Mikey Day as Trump Jr., and Bowen Yang as JD Vance. So they've been doing these opening skits, and since they brought Andy back, they and I knew this was coming because I listened to the Lonely Island Seth Meyers podcast, but they've been looking for an excuse to put out a single because they've been working on some new music the Lonely Island has, and so they're back, and they put out a new single called Sushi Glory Hole.
Yes.
And this felt like a throwback because they premiered the song as a digital short on Saturday Night Live this season. Andy said on the podcast that he asked Lorne Michaels if they could do it. He was like, since I'm here anyways for all this political stuff, why not? I've got a new music video. Do you think we could just throw it up there? And he was like, yeah, go ahead, do it. He also said that because only Andy and Akiva are in the music video because Yorma's currently in Sweden filming a movie.
Mm.
He said since only Andy and Akiva are in the video, the lead singer of Coldplay asked Andy where Yorma was. He asked him verbatim. He's like, where's the other one? Aren't there usually three of you or something like that? So, but and it's funny because they had to like shoot this music video last minute when they got the go ahead for it, from what I heard. So Akiva was actually in another state filming the Naked Gun reboot, and Andy called him up and he's like, "Hey, you got to get to New York now. Like, we're green on the music video. Let's go now." So, and the music video, since it premiered on SNL, also has Maya Rudolph, Kenan Thompson, and Bowen Yang in it.
Nice.
And the premise of this song and the music video is that Andy and Akiva are these businessmen coming into like basically what are these like, Shark Tank type people with a they're a panel of and they're like, we had an opportunity for you, and their business idea is a bathroom glory hole where you get fed sushi through the hole in the wall.
Yes. I
And
love this.
what's funny about it is it's not so much that that's not really the funny part. The funny part is that this idea is so horribly bad that the panel of judges keeps trying to walk away and they have to keep telling them to stay. They have to be like, and that's where the catchiest part of the song comes in, because the chorus is basically them saying, hear us out, hear us out, hear us out, hear us out, don't leave where you go and hear us out. You know?
High-end fish, no doubt. Hey, where you going? Hear us out. 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 Hey, where you going? Hear us out. 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 Sushi, glory, home. Makes too much motherfucking sense not to do it.
Because you can clearly tell that they've pitched this idea 100 times and it's been rejected 100 times. So they're like being preemptive. But my favorite part in the music video is they do this Looney Tunes shit where the judges are trying to leave and they open the door and they're fucking there blocking their exit on some Bugs Bunny type shit. You know, telling them to hear us out. And, I love how the song addresses the potential mix-up, the fact that since the stalls are not labeled, there's a chance you might get a dick through that glory hole, but apparently it's worth it because the fish is so good. You know?
Okay.
Like they actually address that in the song.
That's 2 stalls over, so you're gonna wanna make sure you come in sober, cause none of them are labeled in full disclosure. There's a chance you're gonna get a dick, but it's worth it cause the quality of fish. Yeah, the flavor that you gain outweighs the risk. Don't leave, don't leave, don't leave, don't leave. Where you going? Come back, hear us out. Don't leave.
But then my absolute favorite part is there's a part where the beat drops and Andy just fucking snaps a quick little fast rap out of nowhere and then it picks back up and keeps going. And I was not expecting this, but he came in hard. He was like, you know, we're fooling with Yuzu where you would usually do, so if you got fund approval, it's you who we're trying to get through to. And I was like, damn.
You know I'm fooling with Yuzu where you would usually do, and if you got fund approval, you're who we're trying to get through to. Hey, and no gimmicky roles, just strictly nigiri coming out of the holes.
To break that down for people, by the way, he said, you know, we're fooling with yuzu. Yuzu is a type of sushi where you would usually do the bathroom. But if you got fund approval, it's you who we're trying to get through to. So that's what he said. Also, other cast members showed up in the video, too, like the newer cast, and they really leaned into it. I really like how Chloe Fineman, when she eats the fish through the hole, then she leans her head up against the wall like she's just in, like the fish is so good, she's just in ecstasy. It was great. They were all great. Yeah, man, The Lonely Island is back, and I'm excited to see what else they put out, because that...
Right.
That music video, dude, I've been listening to that song on repeat constantly. The beat is amazing. Like, it's got such a great beat. The song itself is just like well produced and flows really well. That part where Andy fast raps is fucking crazy.
Yes.
The chorus is addicting and funny. It's like an earworm that, you know, hear us out, hear us out. That's an earworm, man.
Yes.
I love it so much. Like, that shit went on my playlist, and I've been listening to it on repeat during my walks.
Nice.
So yeah, that's the God. I'm so glad to have some old cast members back this season to really spice things up, because they've been showing up in other skits too. There was a skit during the Ariana Grande episode where Maya and Andy came in as parents of this young boy in like this like old time Italy setting, and the young boy played by Ariana Grande was, well, they castrated him so he would never hit puberty and always have a good high pitched singing voice. And Maya and Andy play the parents of this young boy, and they're doing like, you know, these goofy Italian accents, and Maya's like, yes, we take the balls, and how do you say, castrado? You know, It's fucking great. And Andy breaks the fourth wall at one point in the skit because Keenan is like playing a bard or something in the skit. And he's like, yes, I have a question. And Andy's like, yes, a Keenan. And I don't think it was planned. I think that was unscripted because it caught Keenan off guard and he almost started laughing. Like he started breaking. So he hesitated for a moment. So I thought that was great. Yeah, so I'm glad to have them back. The Ariana Grande episode, fucking fantastic episode. So yeah, and I noticed Colin and Michael are getting more ballsy with their jokes on Weekend Update too. Like they are not holding back.
No, yeah, no. I watched the 50th anniversary episode with Jelly Roll as the music guest.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the whole season is the 50th anniversary. By the way, it's
okay.
Like, yeah. Yeah, because they have that at the top of, during the cards at the top of all of them. But yeah, also Michael Che and Colin Jost are both writers for the show too, and sometimes they write each other's jokes in order to try and catch the other one off guard. On
the
air.
way those two go back and forth is fantastic.
Michael likes making Colin say racist shit. It's funny to him. Yeah. So, but. All right, yep, that's pretty much it for me. So, all right, folks, get your spooky hats on because it's time to transition into this episode's media corner, which is going to be a bunch of horror or horror adjacent stuff.
Let's mosey on over.
When did the nightmares begin?
When he was born. I brought him home from the hospital, and he just cried and cried, and he just never slept through the night.
Dave!
Good evening, boys and ghouls, and welcome to the Media Corner, the part of the show reserved for news, reviews, recommendations, and sometimes previews. And if you couldn't tell by that creepy intro, this is a horror-themed Media Corner, so get your ponchos on, it's about to get messy. Yeah. So anyways, to be clear though, not everything we're going to talk about is gore-filled splatterfest nonsense. There's some, this is, quite frankly, a lot of the things I'm going to talk about, purely psychological. So, the first thing I want to bring up is a show that I didn't even know existed until it was mentioned by one of the stars of it on YouTube. And this is a show called The Edge of Sleep. And it's based off of a book. There's also a podcast called The Edge of Sleep, which is also based off the book, but differs slightly from it, whereas this show, from people who've read the book, from what I've seen so far, is closer to the book. So my recommendation would be to watch the show. And the podcast, by the way, there are some not every podcast out there is like this, where, it's two assholes talking about shit. It's, that is most podcasts, but there are some podcasts that are more like audiobooks, where there's an actual story being told, and like each episode is like an actual episode. It's like you're listening to a TV show, kind of, but it's being presented in an audio format you can follow. Several things have done this, like Dragon Age Veilguard has a prequel series podcast audio story.
I think one of the other podcasts Sarah listens to does that as well. I think it's called Welcome to Night Vale.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's one of them. And
she's seen them live too.
There's a Batman series. That's a story podcast. Yeah, there's a lot of good ones. Yep, a lot of good ones like that. But anyways, the show is recommended. Here's the thing, though. The main character of the story, Dave, is played both on the podcast and the show by the same person, and that person is Mark Fishbach, aka Markiplier, the YouTube star, the Let's Player.
Okay.
Now, here's the thing. We do know Mark has actually been busy working on starring in, directing, and writing a movie that is based off of a horror game called Iron Lung, and it's gonna be like a legit like theatrical movie and shit. I think.
Ooh, okay.
As of right now, because I listened to his podcast Distractible with Bob and Wade. As of right now, all the filming has been done for the most part. Well, actually, the filming is all done. All the filming is done. It's in post-production, but Mark is doing a lot of the editing himself. And he's told tales of how much of a nightmare that can be. He's like, I've got terabytes upon terabytes upon terabytes of hard drives all over the place. You know? It's a nightmare. So, yeah. But, yeah, so that's the thing. Mark is not the first person who started on YouTube to go on and find actual Hollywood fame. That has happened. Olin Rogers started his show, Final Space, on YouTube, and it got picked up by TBS.
Olin Rogers, is he the guy that did Ghost in the Stall?
I think so. Maybe.
He was so fucking funny.
Dude, Final Space was great. I'm sad it only got 3 seasons, but I loved that show while it was on. Vivzy Pop or what? She, Has Been Hotel started on YouTube,
Yup.
and it got picked up by Amazon Prime, and now it's a legit show.
Yeah.
So this happens. So I don't want people to hear that like a YouTuber is the star of this show or the star of that upcoming movie and brush it off based off of that, because the man can legit act. Like, this is it. And if you've seen his interactive movies on YouTube, A Heist with Markiplier, A Date with Markiplier, In Space with Markiplier, where you make choices. It's like a choose your own adventure in first person thing. He can act, he was good at it. Was a little more hammy in those, but like there's some legit, like, I had no idea he was even in a TV show until he mentioned this, and I went on Amazon Prime. This show is on Amazon Prime, by the way, The Edge of Sleep.
Okay.
So if you have Prime, on Prime Video, so if you have Prime, the show is free to you with a Prime subscription. It is only 6 episodes long so far. One season in, and it's a 6-episode season, and that's it. Each episode is like 20-25 minutes. It's very bingeable. Like, you could watch it in like a day or two. And so the setup for this is that this guy named Dave, he's the main character, but he's been having these weird dreams ever since he was a kid. He's being chased by this elephant monster. He sees these like weird dream cult people. His mom takes him to a special, dream therapist, and in a way it kind of makes everything worse. In his future adult life, he keeps having these nightmares, and they affect his relationship with his girlfriend, who at the time this story picks up is his ex. But basically, him and his buddy Mateo are night watchmen, and Mateo, by the way, played by the guy who played Jefferson in DC's Legends of Tomorrow on the CW, Firestorm. So, yeah, that's another thing that shows you the show is pretty legit. They got, like, actual actors in here, too, so it's not just, like, a bunch of YouTubers and shit. They're, like, real people in here. Well, not to say that they're not real people. You know what the fuck I mean. There's A-listers in here. There's A and B-listers in here. It's not just internet celebrities. It's TV people, too.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So this is, like, a legit produced TV show, and so basically, they get off their third shift job, so they've been awake all night, and that's important. And they go to this party, and things don't turn out well at this party. There ends up being some dead bodies, and they freak out, and they take these bodies to the hospital, where they meet this nurse, and, well, things keep going haywire from there. For some reason, something is going on to where anytime someone falls asleep, they die.
What?
Yes, if you fall asleep, you die. You do not wake back up. There is some kind of pandemic going on that's causing people to die in their sleep. And
What the hell?
And I don't want to dig too deep and spoil the mystery for people, but it may or may not be linked to the nightmares that Dave used to have as a kid. You know,
Okay.
I would say, I would. So basically, as they're running around, the survivors, at this point, because everyone is just dropping dead, they fall asleep and poof, they're gone. And so
Jesus.
it's just Dave and his buddy Mateo and this nurse that they met named Linda and Dave's ex Katie. And they have to basically, this becomes about a way for them to A, figure out what the hell is going on and how to stop it, and B, how to stay awake long enough to do that,
Right.
And it really plays on the whole thing, like, if you stay awake for 48 hours straight, you start hallucinating and shit, and then it just gets worse from there. They do that. They do that. There's like one scene where someone's been up for like 72 hours and they have to fly a plane for a
Jesus
reason,
Christ.
for a reason I won't spoil, but they have to fly a plane and they're doing outrageously desperate shit to keep themselves awake, like slapping themselves in the face, biting their own arm, like it gets to the point where they're like doing things like making small incisions on their skin with a knife and pouring peroxide on it to keep themselves awake with the pain.
Jesus.
And they're taking these pills called M that are like it's a fictional pill for this universe story, but it's basically like fucking cocaine, man. It's like adrenaline. It like, and they're doing that. They're popping these awake pills. They're
Caffeine pills.
Yeah,
Stuff.
yeah, and if someone starts falling asleep, they stab them with an adrenaline needle to kind of bring them back. It's insane. But what I will say is that sleep isn't the only factor here, but I don't want to spoil anything because there's a very interesting, I would argue even maybe almost paranormal mystery going on here.
Oh.
And it gives me vibes of a mixture.
Dude.
I would say this is a mixture of like 28 Days Later, Yellow Jackets, and Nightmare on Elm Street.
Really?
Is what is like, but not in very specific ways though, not like in a general, it's exactly like these things. There's bits and pieces of each of these things in it that make it what it is.
Yeah.
All I will say is that the further the show goes, it starts getting really weird near the end of the season. Like, it starts getting, like, very fever dream. But also, that's intentional because the characters have been awake for so long that they're starting to have very delusional hallucinations and shit, and there is definitely something trying to stop them from accomplishing their goal. So they want you the viewer to feel just as delusional and confused as the characters are at that point, and they do a great job of that by doing like weird warpy camera tricks, and like there gets to be a point where you really don't know what's real and what's not, just like them. And that's part of the fun. Also, I will say, again, no spoilers, but the end of the 6th episode, and this is how I can tell it's the end of the season, besides the fact there's a splash screen for the show title, but they end on a very jaw-dropping, like, sort of cliffhanger. Like, something I would have never saw coming in a million years. Honestly.
Okay.
Like it takes a direction I would not have expected, but it's the kind of thing that has me absolutely salivating for season 2. Like, I need season 2
okay.
now. It's that good. I give this show a 9 out of 10. I give season 1 a solid 9 out of 10, quite frankly.
Okay.
Like, I don't really see a whole lot wrong with it, It does it jumps back and forth between, between the past when Dave is a boy and the present now when he's dealing with all this shit. There's a lot going on, but like I feel myself truly invested in the story, in the characters. I want them to succeed. I want them to survive. If something bad happens, I get legit sad, and like it really shows. I'm very hopeful for Iron Lung now because seeing how Mark's acting in this show, it's raw, it's real. It feels like when he's having arguments with his ex in the show and stuff, it feels like a man who's been through this, like he's putting some real stuff into it. You know, and that's the thing too, is I kind of like that this show feels real. These feel like real people. It doesn't feel like some glammed up gussied Hollywood thing, you know. Like, it doesn't feel like people acting in a movie. It feels like you're watching these real people trying to survive. And it's really well done. You know, it gives me, this feels like a TV show that A24 would have done, quite frankly.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
yeah, but they didn't. But it feels like something they would have done. And
Yeah.
I love the song during the credits. You know, it's very like, ironically enough, it's a song about going to sleep, and it has a sort of like upbeat lullaby tone, and it's very catchy. I love it a lot.
Interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, The Edge of Sleep on Amazon Prime Video. Watch it. It has a 9 out of 10 on IMDb and a 5 out of 5 on Amazon.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's getting strong. Granted, that's probably Markiplier fans just rating it highly, but, you know, still. I agree with it. I agree. It is really good, and it's not just because of him. It's genuinely good. Everyone in this show does a great job with their role. It's all good. So, it gets really weird near the end, but I'm excited to see where it goes next.
Hell yeah.
So-
I'm excited to start watching it.
Oh yeah, you're gonna have to tell me what you think.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Your turn.
Okay. I recently watched The Mousetrap on Peacock.
And to be
I'ma
clear,
be-
that's not the Nathan Lane comedy movie from back in the day where they're chasing the mouse.
No, this is the Steamboat Willie slasher film that became a thing because Mickey Mouse is now public domain, or at least
yeah.
the Steamboat Willie version of Mickey Mouse is public domain.
Right, specifically that.
Yeah, specifically Steamboat Willie. The way this movie tries way too hard to be Five Nights at Freddy's. The only difference is the place, the name of the place in this movie is called Fun Haven. It's like a Chuck E. Cheese if it didn't have the animatronics.
Okay.
Kind of like a what Cherryvale Golf and Games used to be.
No animatronics and a murderous Mickey Mouse.
But here's the kicker.
I'm sorry. Steamboat Willie.
They never.
Legal distinction.
Yeah, they never. It's the manager. The manager of the Fun Haven has a back room, and he had like a Steamboat Willie mask in a display case, and he had put Steamboat Willie up on the TV, and there must have been some sort of, I don't know, because this
Oh shit.
movie, dude, this is gonna get an extremely low rating, just so you know. Probably the lowest score any movie has gotten in the history of this podcast.
From you?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh my god, dude. So somehow, some way, this mask ends up on the manager. They never confirm that the manager is the one behind the mask, but it's obvious. But this man, when the light is not on him, he can teleport. Now, I would have been okay with the twists and turns that things made had they not made one fatal mistake. During one of the kill scenes, they cut it off mid sentence, roll the credits.
The Sopranos, Joe.
Bro, this is getting a 5 out of 10.
Wow, well, even that's generous because I take a little peek, and as I said, I would always do
God
these things.
damn. It was bad.
This movie has a 2.5 out of 10 on IMDb and a 21% on Rotten Tomatoes.
2.5?
Yep, 2.5 out of 10, so that's a 25% on IMDb and a 21%
Man.
on Rotten Tomatoes.
I do that. 5. I say, yeah, 5 is being generous.
Yeah, 5 is apparently generous. Okay.
Oh, man. But no, I liked it, but I hated it at the same time.
Well, you'll enjoy watching the Dead Meat
My
Kill Count
eyes-
for it because
My
James
eyes-
goes hard on how bad it is.
my eyes were glued to the screen because of how bad it was.
So it's like the Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey train wreck, right? It's very similar.
Yes.
concept
It's so
here.
good. It's
Or-
so
or-
good. It's so bad you can't look away.
Yeah, so bad that... But not so bad that it's good, just so bad that you feel like you have to see it through to see how bad it is.
Yes.
Right.
Like, why do they even try? Like, it
Right?
and this entire story is being told from the one sole survivor, supposedly. But there was no conclusion.
Right. Yeah, that's weird.
There-
What, do they
there
just, like,
is-
run out of budget?
Maybe.
Oh, shit, we're out of money. We can't finish the movie. Well, we'll just cut to black like it worked for The Sopranos. Why not?
Right.
It didn't, though.
God
It pissed
damn.
people off when that show did that.
This
so.
this movie was garbage.
Okay. Well, that might be the lowest movie rating we've ever gotten on the podcast, but not the lowest rating of anything. That crown is still held currently by Gollum at a 4 out of 10 as I rated it.
Oh yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that's right.
Yes. Gollum is still on the wall of shame and has yet to be dethroned from that spot. So, one of these days, one of us will give something a 1, 2, or 3, and it'll take the new spot.
Yeah.
Maybe. We'll see. Very rarely do I go that low, but man, woof. Okay.
Man. What else you got?
Okay, so I watched 2 horror movies recently, and I was trying to flip-flop between which one I really wanted to talk about here. I watched both The Watchers and Maxine, and I think I've landed on talking about Maxine because
Okay.
the Watchers is a little difficult to talk about because it's a very weird movie that it's hard to dance around spoilers in that one, but also it's a very basic setup about people in a in a building in the middle of the woods being watched by these creatures at night through a mirror. It's a weird.
Okay.
It's yeah. I'm gonna put a pin in that one so I can think about the right way to talk about it, and then
Okay.
I will come back to it in another episode. But as a bit of a sneak peek, right now I'm kind of sitting on a 7 out of 10 for that one.
Okay.
So I'll come back to it in the future because once I've figured it out. But I will say it's based around some Irish folklore, which is kind of cool.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, yeah. But that's the part that you have to dance around because it gets spoilery. So,
Yeah.
but Maxine, on the other hand, so Maxine is a sequel to X, and it's the final movie in the X trilogy, which is X, Pearl, and Maxine. And
Yeah.
Mia Goth is the star of all these movies, basically. Even though she's playing a different character in Pearl, it's still a prequel to X because in X she plays two characters, Maxine and Pearl, an old lady version of Pearl from the other movie. So, some mild spoilers for X here for the setup of this movie, but Maxine is basically the sole survivor of the events of that movie, and she's now in Hollywood in the 80s making a name for herself. She has been an adult film star for a while, but she's trying to get into a horror movie. And she gets picked for the role, but as she's trying to, make all this work, she starts being reached out to by this detective, and slowly but surely the people around her, like certain friends and coworkers, are being killed or are being murdered, and the murders are being set up to look like they're happening. They're being committed by the Night Stalker, who was a real serial killer, big deal back then. So these murders are being set up to look like they're being committed by the Night Stalker, but there's something else going on. Someone knows what happened in the events of X, and they are using that information to blackmail Maxine and into visiting a specific location. So basically, this movie is about her trying to balance her new movie career and not get kicked off the set of this, once in a lifetime opportunity, while simultaneously trying to duck and dodge this detective and protect herself from potential would-be murderers. As since she is the sole survivor of the previous movie, she is pretty good at holding her own, and she shows that quite a bit in this movie. She definitely turns the tables on a few people a few times. Giancarlo Esposito is in this movie. He Gus Fring from Breaking Bad. He plays her agent in this, Teddy. And they made him look like a Hollywood douchebag. He's got Jason Sudeikis hair and and a Hollywood tan, and it's so weird seeing him like that. I'm like, his skin isn't normally that dark, is it? And it's a completely different role from what he usually plays at first, but later in the movie he starts doing some shady shit that's kind of like, that's the Gus Fring I know. Yeah. So also, the detective that's harassing Maxine throughout this movie is played by Kevin Bacon. So he's in this too.
Okay.
I do not recommend watching this movie if you have not seen X. Quite frankly, I would argue you don't really have to see Pearl to appreciate this movie, but thematically there's a lot of similarities going on there that help. It helps to have context from both movies, but you have to at least watch X before you can watch Maxine. That it is a direct sequel to it, and there's important context from the events of that movie that you need to know to understand what's going on here. I will say this, though. This X trilogy, directed by Ty West, also produced by A24, these movies, each one kind of fits a different genre. X is a slasher movie, like a slasher exploitation film.
Uh-huh.
Like your late 70s slasher movies. Pearl is a Technicolor fever dream Wizard of Oz horror movie.
Uh-huh.
And this one, Maxine, is kind of a crime thriller horror movie. So, yeah, because there's a lot of stuff going on with the Night Stalker, and then there's a shootout at one point in the movie between detectives and a cult. Yeah, so some really good stuff. I would give Maxine. I don't know if I really have any complaints. Also, it was filmed to look vintage because it takes place in the 80s, so there's like film grain and kind of like a soft filter over the picture, so it's still like in HD and everything, but like visually it looks like you're back in the 80s,
Yeah.
They get that going. And there are some parts of this movie, the way they film it, that kind of feel like a music video,
Really?
It's really cool.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a lot of parallels going on there. This also, the satanic panic of the 80s plays a huge role in this movie. There's protesters talking about how horror movies are Satanism, and and this is back when people were like Dungeons and Dragons is evil and shit like that. So there's a lot of that protesting going on. By like religious fanatics and stuff, and that actually kind of plays pretty big into the movie story, as well. And there's just a lot of like subtle fourth wall breaking stuff because Mia Goth plays an actress in this movie, so there's a lot of talk about her being an actress in a horror movie,
Yeah.
So it's like kind of a double meaning thing there. So, yeah. And Kevin Bacon plays a dick, and I mean that in two ways, because he's a private eye and an asshole.
Fair enough.
So yeah, that's Maxine. If you want to watch it, though, I recommend watching X and Pearl first, at least X. But yeah, the whole X trilogy, X, Pearl, and Maxine, is worth watching. It's really good stuff. Very experimental horror, if you will. So, oh yeah, I would give this, who would I want to give this? I would say 8.5 out of 10 would be my rating for Maxine.
Okay.
Yes, it would. Now, we have a little bit of gaming news that you want to share with us, isn't there?
Yeah. Microsoft recently had their Xbox partner preview.
Mm-hmm. Focusing on multiplayer or multi-platform games.
Yeah.
Not exclusives, but stuff. Stuff from third-party developers.
We got more look at the Alan Wake 2 the Lake House DLC.
I'm very excited for this. It comes out Tuesday, I want to say, and yeah, it looks like it's gonna tie into the next Control game. I'm excited to see, because in Control there was an Alan Wake DLC, and this is basically a Control DLC in an Alan Wake game. So yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes. I want to see what happened at the lake house. I heard it was bad.
Okay.
Like bad as in scary, like what happened there. Yeah.
We got Chronos: The New Dawn.
This is notable because it's the next horror game from Bloober Team, and they just put out the highly successful Silent Hill 2 remake. So announcing this game hot off the heels of the success of that was a smart move. I've always been a fan of Bloober, but I've always rooted for them, but definitely even more so now. This game looks like Dead Space kind of. It's definitely sci-fi horror. It looks like it's got a little action in it, so this is kind of new territory for them. You know,
Yeah.
they usually do like psychological indie horror games. This is different, so I'm excited.
Yeah. Blind Fire.
Looks like a ripoff of Cyberpunk. Even the logo looks the same. It's a
Yeah, it
multiplayer
does.
shooter.
Yeah. Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii.
One of these days, I'll get around to playing the Yakuza games. I've heard a lot of good things about them.
The Mouse PI for Hire. This
It looks fun.
it plays a lot like kind of like the animation for like Steamboat Willie.
Yeah, or like Cuphead, that Rubber Limbs era kind of
Mhm.
stuff. Yeah, it's got like classic black and white Mickey Mouse cartoon animation, but the gameplay is reminiscent of like BioShock, but you're also like a detective that's trying to solve murders at the same time. So I'm guessing
Yeah.
the people you're going up against and killing are like gangsters probably, so it's probably got like a noir feel to it, I would say.
Mhm. We've
Detective
got
noir.
Subnautica 2.
The official announcement that Subnautica is getting a sequel, so prepare yourselves, fans of Markiplier and Jacksepticeye and PewDiePie and all them, because you're going to get a bunch of videos of them being scared of the ocean again.
Animal Well.
Speaking of YouTubers, this is an indie game made by Donkey. It was already out on PlayStation and PC, but now it's officially out on Xbox as well.
Nice. Eden's Zero.
Based on an anime. That's all I have to say about it.
Eternal Strands.
Xbox's response to Stellar Blade is what this is.
Okay.
Yeah, this is their version of that.
Mistfall Hunter.
It is basically a Souls-like extraction game. Take that for what you will.
Wheel World.
This one, I like the look. I like the art style. I'm probably on an island here, but I like the art style. It's a bike racing game that also has kind of like an open world life sim aspect to it as well, and it just looks fun, and I really like the uniqueness of the animation in it too.
I'm excited for Phasmophobia.
Oh yeah, Phasmophobia is coming to Xbox now, so now it'll be on everything.
Yes.
It's actually, the official announcement is that it's coming to consoles altogether. But yeah,
Yeah.
they showed it off at this thing.
Yeah. The Legend of Babu.
By the way, me and Ryan and Dylan and Deacon did some hilarious Phasmophobia playthroughs. Go!
I remember. I watched all of them.
And then we did them again without Deacon. We did more with Dylan's girlfriend Chaz. We did a couple of those. Yeah, folks.
Okay.
Yeah, go watch the Phasmophobia videos on Oversoul Gaming. They are, man, some of the best moments on my channel ever are in those videos. I swear. Yoo-hoo, Davy boy. Anyways, The Legend of Babu. Yeah. Who doesn't love a game with a dog? It's basically it's like an indie adventure game where you play as you play as the human Sepher and his dog companion Babu, this like husky wolf looking thing, and it looks so cute and fun, quite frankly.
It does.
I'm gonna play the hell out of it whenever it comes out. A lot of these, not all of them, but a lot of these are gonna be free on Game Pass day one, by the way. No surprise there.
Yeah. Wu Chang Fallen Feathers.
Yeah. Actually, this might be the one that's their response to Stellar Blade. Either that or it's their response to Wukong. Yeah, because it's definitely a it's definitely a like sword fighting gameplay game. It's one of the ones that's going to be free on Game Pass, so I'm looking forward to checking it out.
Right. And then we have FBC Firebreak.
I gotta be honest, I got mixed feelings about this. This game is part of the Remedy verse, you know, Alan Wake, Control, all that, but
Yeah.
it's a multiplayer game. Set in the world of Control, FBC Firebreak is a multiplayer first person shooter. The 3-player cooperative shooter is set in Control's Federal Bureau of Control as deadly otherworldly forces lay siege to the headquarters. Mike, it will be free on Game Pass, so I'm going to give it a try for that reason alone. But this is giving me, like, Outlast Trials vibes, where, like, I saw that and I was like, oh, good, a game in the series I'm probably not going to play because of the multiplayer focused shit. Like, some things don't need multiplayer. Some things should just stay single player. The Remedyverse doesn't need a multiplayer game. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
judge. I'm not gonna judge it until I've had a chance to play it. But the fact that it even exists does irritate me a little bit. It just, I don't know. But if they were gonna do a multiplayer game in the Remedyverse, setting it in the Federal Bureau of Control is the right move. I would say that's the right way to do it because
Yeah.
that place is a bureau that investigates paranormal and paranatural stuff, and they have a whole staff of people, and sometimes they find paranatural objects that they have to contain inside their prison. It's kind of like the SCP Foundation, and they need
Yeah.
employees to keep these things contained. So,
Mm-hmm.
so it does make sense. And like I said, I won't fully judge it till I've had a chance to play it. But man, I just, I don't know many people as invested as me in this series before, besides my friend Mythos. So it's gonna be hard to find people to play with, and I don't want to link up with complete strangers. Not if I have to talk to them, you know.
Right.
And hopefully I won't have to. Hopefully this can just be like I can just not have to, I'm fine with jumping into it if I don't have to communicate, but it's cooperative, so I feel like, there's at least some form of communication necessary.
Yeah.
Because it's PvE, it's player versus computer. So.
Yeah.
But, we'll see. Anyways, though, yeah, they had a halfway decent showing overall, because I watched it when it aired live, and I was like, oh, okay, some of this looks pretty good. A lot of horror stuff in here, which is good for me, and kind of like why I wanted to talk about it, too, because, this is our horror episode, so...
Yeah.
And they chose the right month to announce all these horror games, so...
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, a nice little. I would give it a B plus. The whole showing, I would give it a B plus overall grade rating since I watched it.
Yes.
Definitely looking forward to Bloober Team's Chronos, though. That's the highlight for me. Also, yeah, we did PlayStation State of Play in the last episode, so it was only fair that we covered this too.
Yes.
Anything on that list stand out to you in particular?
Phasmophobia.
Have you played that?
No, but
Okay.
I want to.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we'll have to do that at some point then. Oh,
Yeah.
I think I could probably get a fun let's play out of you playing that game.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, speaking of Bloober Team, because I said Chronos was my top thing. My last entry on the media corner is the video game The Silent Hill 2 remake. I've been playing that recently. It was a GameFly rental. The original game was a PS2 game back in the day. I think it also came out on original Xbox, but later. But originally it was a PS2 game. And the basic setup of this is that this guy named James Sunderland, he travels to this town, Silent Hill, looking for his wife, but when he gets there, supposedly though his wife is dead, but something drew him to the town. He felt something calling to him that pulled him there. So he decided to go. And once he gets to the town, he finds out something's not quite right with this place. People the regular people are acting really weird. There's a strange fog covering the town. There are odd-looking creatures roaming about that mean to do him harm. And it is, this becomes a story of him looking for his wife, but also trying to survive this town. And eventually he meets up with this woman named Maria, who looks a lot like his wife, and the two of them become kind of traveling companions for a good portion of the game. And there's a lot of stuff there. There's a lot of symbolism in this game because James isn't necessarily a good person, and I wouldn't really call these spoilers because the story is pretty much the exact same as it was for the PS2 game. But James wasn't necessarily a great person. There's a lot of, sex abuse type symbolism going on in this game and stuff like that. That's because what Silent Hill does, Silent Hill plays on the psychosis of whoever it has trapped there. So the reason that James sees some of the monsters that he does, like the sexy nurses and Pyramid Head, is because those are his personal demons. Those are his monsters. Yeah. Silent Hill in of itself is like a paranormal force that screws with the people that go inside it. And, it's a cursed town, is the best way to put it. This game, man, I can only play it at night because it's so dark in some areas that you can't see shit otherwise, unless you're playing at night. You can crank up the brightness all you want, all it's gonna do is turn the black gray. You still can't see shit. So...
I believe it.
At least not until you get the flashlight, and then you can see shit within a flashlight radius. But it's intentional. Horror games do that. They make some areas darker than sin so that, you need a flashlight to see, because having a limited radius of view based on your flashlight light instead of having, it makes it spookier,
Yeah.
I gotta be honest with you, I feel safer out in the town in the fog in this game than I do inside any of the buildings. Because it's when you go in the buildings that the real creep shit begins in this game. That's when it starts shifting to the other world and the walls start decaying and the monsters come out. Everything's dark as fuck. There's this monster called the Mannequin, and what it is it's basically like if someone took a mannequin model from a clothing store, and they cut it in half at the middle, like right at the torso, and they took the bottom half and they cut they cut the legs off, like basically right at the kneecap, and then they did that twice, and then they glued both torsos to each other. That's what this monster looks like.
Jesus Christ.
And these little fuckers, they like to hide in little areas. They like to hide under tables and shit, and they like to freeze, and they get really quiet, and they don't move at all. So when you get close to them, they can jump out at you and grab you. But if you notice that they're there in time, you can actually shoot them to aggro them to get them. You can kill them before they get to you. So. But they've definitely gotten me a few times. There's been a few times where I got a little cocky. I thought I cleared a whole area, and then I would go into a bathroom to look for items, and one of the fuckers would be hiding in a stall or something, and they would still get me. The game is really good. It's not too hard or anything, but it is stressful, and you can actually choose the combat difficulty and the puzzle difficulty. I have combat difficulty on easy and puzzle difficulty on normal. Combat difficulty you can change at any time, but puzzle difficulty is set in place once you start the game because it actually changes the content of the game itself.
Okay.
So normal puzzles are the intended experience. Then there's an optional hard and easy mode where, easy mode is they're basically just giving you the answers. Instead of having to find 5 coins to put in the dresser, maybe you only got to find 1 or 2. Cuts out a lot of corners. But the puzzles really aren't that hard. It's mostly logic-based word puzzles where the answers are hidden in a riddle or some shit, and you just kind of have to think about it. Or... There was one room I went in where To give you an example, there was one room I went in where there was a safe, and there was a bunch of scribbles on the wall, but there were some words on the wall that said something along the lines of, uh, first is the blah blah blah, second is the roofs that pierce the sky, and third is the river, or something like that. And I was like, oh, okay, so I'm just looking for these particular drawings on the wall. And you look around and you shine your flashlight on the walls, and the drawings you need with the numbers you need for the combination, they light up when you shine on them, so you can tell what they are. And to know the order the numbers go in, you just have to solve the riddle. You just got to use common sense to put two and two together. So it's just stuff like that. Or it's a lot of like running around. It's very Resident Evil-esque too, in the sense there's a lot of running around, going to different rooms, looking for like emblems or like pieces of a clock to put together and stuff like that. One of the first puzzles you do has you gluing a broken record back together.
Interesting.
To get a jukebox working. Yeah. So, and I'm having a lot of fun with it, but it does get stressful at times, especially when you never know what's around the next corner. The first time I encountered Pyramid Head, I was like, ooh, okay, I had to kind of force myself to push forward a little bit.
I believe it.
And then I had a boss battle with him, and I was like, oh, okay, this isn't too bad. He swung that big-ass knife at me, but I dodged it professionally. I say boss battle, but really it was an endurance test. I just had to survive until the invisible timer ran out. It was like, like the Silent Hill alarm goes off. You know the one from the movie. And,
Yep.
and he starts walking away. Killing time is up. The purge is over. Gotta go back to normal.
Right.
Basically. Yeah. So, yeah. So the Silent Hill 2 remake, phenomenal so far. Scary. I'm currently, at the time of recording this, I'm currently in the hospital. So I've had my first encounter with the nurse enemies, the iconic nurses from the Silent Hill franchises. They were also in the movies. And yeah, they are a pain. That's another example of an easy riddle I had to solve too. There was a padlock in the hospital, and the riddle said that the answer to the numbers was nurses, doctors, and trees. And in the hallway, there's paintings on the wall. There's a painting of 2 doctors, a painting of 5 nurses, and a painting of a building with 4 trees by it. So you look at those paintings and you count the doctors, the nurses, and the trees, and that's the answer to the padlock combination.
Okay.
So it's just, I'm really good at those kinds of puzzles, but you give me like one of those sliding tile puzzles where you have to move the blocks around until it makes a picture. Fuck that shit. I can't stand that garbage. But you give me these word riddles, where I have to use logic and common sense to put it together. I love that shit. That's my bread and butter right there. So, So yeah, I'm into it so far. In the beginning of the game, you don't have a gun. You just have a wooden plank that you have to bash the fuck out of enemies with and like dodge them when they try to attack you. But you do get a handgun later and eventually a shotgun. I have the shotgun now. I'm feeling a little more safe. I have a handgun, a shotgun, and a traveling companion. I'm not as scared as I was, but it's still kind of, but in the beginning, man, I struggled to get through that first hotel. That place was creepy as shit.
Oh, I believe it.
I hear there's a prison level coming up that a lot of people have caused a lot of people to just straight up quit the game because it's too much. Yeah, it's a difficult one because it does things with lighting that makes it hard to see the enemies. So,
right.
Yeah, but so far I give this remake a solid. I'm wavering between an 8 and a 9 on this one. I don't know what I'm going to settle on in the end, so I'll say 8.5 for now. But
Okay.
that may be updated by the time I finish it. So.
Right.
So yeah. Yep, I am enjoying it so far. Bloober Team did a great job. They did a great job with this. It is super true to the original, and hardly any changes that weren't for the better. Honestly, all the same shit from the original, all the same scenes, all the same boss fights and locations, just revamped with modern graphics.
Okay.
It's a full-on from the ground up remake.
Nice.
It is, I would compare it to the Resident Evil remakes. Honestly, it's very... And you watched me play some of the Resident Evil 4 remake. Like, graphically and, like, the camera angles and shit, it's exactly like that. More or less.
Okay.
So, yeah, third person. Yeah, the original PS2 game had fixed camera angles, so I'm glad they didn't do that shit again.
Right.
So, yeah, this is like a actual like third person game. So, and yeah. So, that will do it for this episode's Media Corner, and, you know, ending it on a spooky thing, which was going to happen regardless, but is a perfect transition into this episode's fun little topic we're going to do.
Yes, let's go.
Just a quick little add-on here, folks, because I forgot to mention it. Regardless of my rating, Maxine has a 6.3 out of 10 on IMDb and a 72% on Rotten Tomatoes, and the Silent Hill 2 remake is currently sitting at a 10 out of 10 on Steam, and most reviewers, IGN gave it a 9 out of 10, and... Yeah, it has an 86% on Metacritic, which is the video game version of Rotten Tomatoes. So, all right, now to the topic.
Welcome to the Kill Count, where we tally up the victims in all our favorite horror movies and show you how they were made.
All right, everybody, here we are at this episode's topic, and since this is our special Halloween episode for the year, we're doing another round of Would You Rather, but instead of it being competitive, this one's just gonna be for fun. And because I don't have like a way to point this, these are lists people came up with online. It's not from the official Would You Rather website, so there's no majority rules to go off of. So we're just gonna do it for fun. So yeah, you know, since it is Halloween, all of these Would You Rather questions are going to be themed around different horror stuff, horror movies and the whatnot. So let's jump into it, see how we do. So here's a good one to start off. Would you rather, if you are running for your life, which of these two killers would you rather be chased by? Michael Myers from Halloween or Ghostface from Scream?
That's not you don't win either way.
Right, but which one do you think you have a better chance of winning against? You know, you have to think about that. No one said these would be easy questions.
Ghostface is fast.
Yeah.
Michael Myers always catches up.
Right.
But I have a higher chance of living against Michael.
Right, because Lori did for years.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
She survived for years. People have won against Michael. Not many winners against Ghostface. Here's the other thing, too. Ghostface Killer isn't just one person. It's always, like, multiple people, and it changes throughout the movies. So it's like a cult of killers coming after you.
Exactly.
Michael Myers is just one person. But Michael Myers is kind of immortal, so there's that to contend with too. You know, you might beat him this time, but he'll be back for you later.
Right, exactly.
You're kind of right that either way you're screwed, but you got to pick one. And I think
I'm going with Michael Myers.
I think I have to agree with that one. I think yeah.
He's slow, but he always catches up.
Okay. Here's another one where you're basically screwed, but you got to figure it out anyway. Would you rather have to survive against the noise-attracted monsters from A Quiet Place, or against the xenomorphs from Alien?
Oh, dude, I don't know.
I think I would rather go up against the xenomorph because, granted, there can be multiple of them, but in the first movie there was only really one xenomorph they were contending with, the xenomorph being the title alien. But There can be multiple. The thing, though, well, here I don't know. They're both kind of attracted to sound, aren't they? But
Yeah.
from what I've seen in A Quiet Place, though, you have to in that movie they have to make practically no sound. They're like walking on sand using sign language to talk. They can only talk under a waterfall because it muffles their voice. Whereas in Alien, at least there's more of a fighting chance. Sure, it's attracted to sound only in the sense of like they made enough sound to give away their location. But the creatures in A Quiet Place are like supersonic sound hearing. Like you can't even sneeze without one of them showing up in 2 seconds to slash your throat open. So
That being said, I choose the xenomorphs.
I think I would too because Sigourney Weaver survived. So
Yeah.
I think we could. I think we could make it work. I have to agree.
Yes.
I think the xenomorph is the correct option here. I think you have less of a chance of survival with the Quiet Place creatures
Yeah.
by a large margin.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Oh, here's a fun one. Would you rather spend the night alone in the house from Paranormal Activity or the house from The Conjuring?
Ooh. Bro. No.
Yes.
Okay.
At least they
you
didn't
know
say.
how much.
At least they didn't say Amityville Horror.
You know. You know how much of a chicken shit I am.
Yep, but you gotta pick one. So Paranormal Activity, both of them are basically ghosts, but Paranormal Activity was a family demon curse, whereas The Conjuring,
But which Conjuring film?
the first one. For argument's sake, these are the first movies in their series.
Paranormal Activity, because at least there's cameras.
You know what? Yeah, I
I'll
mean,
take the Paranormal Activity house.
things didn't end good in either house, though. Actually,
No, I know,
Well,
but at least there's cameras.
you know what though? I'm gonna go with The Conjuring, and here's why. Because in the Conjuring universe, I have Ed and Lorraine Warren on my side, and that, there's.
Am I allowed to change my? Am I allowed to change
Well,
my answer?
you know what though? That doesn't really count though, because it says you have to spend the night alone in the house. It's pretty clear about alone.
Yeah.
But I could go to them ahead of time for some preparation. Maybe they can give me some
Yeah.
stuff to use. But Paranormal Activity series. Oh no, wait, I'm thinking of Insidious. Never mind. I was gonna say that series has Lynn Shane, the psychic lady, but no, that's Insidious.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe The Conjuring, but there's a good argument to be made for Paranormal Activity too, because that one is more like poltergeisty shit, whereas The Conjuring is like, isn't there like a full on possession in that movie? Aren't like witches involved? Like they used to hang
Yes.
witches from the tree outside. Yeah, it's a lot more.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but Paranormal Activity, a straight up demon's dragging her down the hallway. So
That.
Yeah, it's a rough choice either way, but I think I'm gonna go with The Conjuring. I think that movie's universe has a higher survival rate,
Yeah.
I would say.
Fair, yeah.
Yes. Ooh, this is fucked. Okay, would you rather come face to face with Pennywise the clown from It or Art the clown from Terrifier?
Oh, man.
This is an easy answer for me. 100% it's Pennywise. First of all, he's funny, so maybe a little entertainment before I die. But also, Pennywise is easy to beat because he's basically just a shape-shifting alien, and a bunch of kids basically took his power away by saying mean things to him. Pennywise feeds off your fear. The It alien feeds off your fear. So it shapeshifts into whatever you're scared of. If you don't give it that fear, it can't hurt you. So Pennywise is beatable. Art the clown. I haven't seen the Terrifier movies, but I've seen the uncensored kill counts for them, and I've seen some of the scenes from them. No one survives those movies at all. They are the goriest, most bloodbath slasher films in existence.
I've seen the first one.
Yeah, so you know about the chick being sawed in half upside down scene.
Yup.
That is okay. Well, there is a scene in the second movie that completely blows that one out of the water. It is.
I've heard that they had to take the third one out of cinemas because there were theater goers that were vomiting while watching the film.
So, let's put it in perspective here. The second Terrifier movie has a scene where he kills this girl in her bedroom by. Well, first he slashes her across the eye that makes her look at it in the mirror, but then it gets worse. He starts scalping her, he breaks her arm, he does all kinds of shit. He's like cutting off pieces of her. By the time he's done with her,
God
she's
damn.
basically just like a bloody she's got like no scalp, like her arm is broken in 3 places. She's dragging herself across the floor's blood, and then he comes in and starts pouring salt and lemon juice all over her. It's
Jesus Christ.
insane. And then later her mom comes in and sees basically what's left of her daughter's corpse on the bed, still kind of barely alive, and like looks and recognizes her. Like the girl basically has no meat on her bones anymore at this point, and she's somehow still barely hanging on.
God damn.
Oh, it is a fucking visceral scene. And I haven't seen the third movie, but I've heard that they upped the ante in that one too with a killing 2 people at once in a shower scene with a chainsaw. So
Jesus Christ.
and the guy that gets killed gets well, let's just say violated with the chainsaw.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. Pennywise, I'm going with Pennywise on this one.
Yeah, and at least with Pennywise, at least you'll just get eaten and your soul will be gone, so you'll forget about it. Like
Either that or you have a fighting chance.
right, with Art the Clown, you're just fucked, and like not only are you fucked, but you're gonna be brutally tortured and
Yes.
in the process. Like you're gonna feel pain so bad that you wish you would just die and it would end. You know.
Yeah.
And also, he's immortal. They kill him at the end of every movie. He keeps fucking coming back. So, yeah, there's that too. Definitely going with Pennywise here. Okay. Here's a good one. Would you rather take a vacation at the Overlook Hotel from The Shining or the Bates Motel from Psycho?
Bates Motel.
Wow, that was an easy one. You know? I guess I can agree with that, though, because what you gotta watch out for at Bates Motel is basically a mentally deranged guy dressing up as his dead mother and stabbing people in the shower with a knife. And you got one guy to look out for there. The Overlook Hotel
You just don't take a shower.
Yeah. The Overlook Hotel from The Shining, however, that place has got ghosts. It's got history. It's got Jack Nicholson with an axe. You know, yeah, I feel like the hotel from The Shining has a lot more spooky shit going on in it, and a much lower survival rate. But
yeah.
I don't know how many people did Norman Bates kill, you know, before the events of the original Psycho. We all know the shower scene. A lot of things parody it, but like, what's his actual kill count? You know what I mean? Who knows how many unsuspecting women he murdered? Yeah, but you know what though? I think I have to agree that the Bates Motel might have a higher survival chance overall than the hotel from The Shining. Plus, like, yeah, I don't want to be walking down the long ass hallway and seeing those creepy girls and shit.
Right.
Oh, fun fact, by the way, I forgot to mention, the Bates Motel is in Maxine. Like, the actual set where they filmed Psycho, the motel itself and the house behind it is a location they visit a couple times in the movie Maxine.
Okay.
Yeah. I also forgot to mention, by the way, that in the Silent Hill 2 remake, when enemies are nearby, there's a radio that you carry that plays static, and that static comes through your controller speaker on the PS5. So that kind of
Oh.
like, when you're playing this game in the middle of the night and your controller starts making radio static noises, it's a little freaky.
I believe it.
Okay, so. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Would you rather have to watch the creepy VHS from The Ring over and over, or move into the house from The Grudge?
The Ring.
You're gonna go with The Ring, huh?
Yep. Fuck Grudge.
But aren't you guaranteed
Fuck
to die?
that.
I was gonna say, aren't you guaranteed to die if watching that movie? But not
But
necessarily.
I'm watching it over and over and over again. How am I gonna die if I'm watching it over and over and over again? I just
That's a
keep
fair point. But then,
prolonging my days.
I get. Does it work that way? Does it hit the reset button? I guess maybe.
I don't know.
In the movie, they fixed the curse by making a copy of the video. I remember, is what they did. They discovered that was the secret in the original movie, is they made a copy of it, and it, like, canceled the curse. But then her son was like, but what about all the other people we showed it to? And then they both look at the audience. It was, kind of interesting
Fourth wall
wall.
breaking.
Yep. But yeah, the house from the Grudge is fucking creepy, man. The death rattle noise is...
The death rattle it makes my skin crawl every time.
Yeah, and that Japanese ghosts are fucking scary, man.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, The Ring has a higher survival rate, so I think I have to agree with you on that one.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, is the agreement isn't unfortunate. It's just that man.
All you gotta do is surround yourself with things that aren't screens.
Okay, here's another interesting one. If you had... Okay, which one of these would you rather have to fight? Not run from, but actually, like, fight, like, defend yourself against. Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, or Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th?
Oh, God. I don't know.
Which one do you think you could take in a fight? Leatherface and his chainsaw, or Jason and his machete?
I think I would have more of a fighting chance against Jason.
Do we think so? Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, the fucker stayed around for 10 plus movies, but sure.
Yeah.
I think because Jason is
Leatherface ain't no better.
Well, Jason is immortal. That's the thing you have to remember. Jason is basically a zombie, whereas Leatherface is just a guy in a mask. I think, if I remember correctly. He's just a guy. He's just a serial killer. Texas Chainsaw is loosely based on some real life serial killings. They took a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I think a little bit of Ted Bundy was inspired, for it.
Okay.
Whoever that guy was that made furniture out of people.
Jesus.
Yeah. Another one. Yeah, fun fact, the original, well, not so fun, but the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the very first one, they had actual animal carcasses on the set to add to, like, the grime of that house and stuff, and people who were on the film, they said it stunk to high heaven. Like, it was nasty.
I believe it.
There's also a scene in that movie where a chick, he picks up this girl and puts her on a meat hook, and the actress in that scene was actually injured during filming during that scene.
God damn.
Something didn't go right, and she actually got stabbed by the hook. She's not dead or anything, but, like, yeah.
I hope she got compensated.
Right.
Shit.
Yeah, there's a reason we have unions now.
Mm-hmm.
So, you say Jason. I'm going to take my chances against Leatherface, quite frankly, because there's, like, people got away at the end of his movie, too. I do remember that. I think Texas Chainsaw has a higher survival rate too than Friday the 13th. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I would rather take my chances against a guy in a mask with a chainsaw versus a immortal walking serial. Like, he's basically a walking corpse. Jason died. He was drowned at Camp Crystal
Yeah.
Lake. You know, in the first movie, it's not even him killing people, it's his mom. He's not even in
Oh,
the
I
first
know.
movie. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. So, yeah, he doesn't even actually show up to the second one. And it's like some, I don't know, like, it's because they kill his mom and then he, like, comes back from the dead, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay. Here's a really fun one. Would you rather have to survive a jigsaw trap in a Saw movie or try to survive being chased by death in Final Destination?
I'm gonna go with the Final Destination.
You think you got a higher chance there?
Yeah, a little bit.
Well, they did figure out the secret, but don't forget, Claire Rivers survived the first movie only to turn around and die in the second one anyways.
Yeah, that's fair.
I actually would argue that the Saw movies have a higher survival rate than Final Destination does. As crazy as that sounds, some people actually survive their
put
traps.
yourself in discomfort to survive those traps.
Right, but it's that or die. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
you know, how badly do you want to live? You know, and
Right.
And you know, you saw. I mean, granted, it was all a ruse, but they even had a Saw Trap Survivor self-help group in the 7th movie.
Yeah.
You know? So, you know, you see there's been multiple survivors. I can't say the same about Final Destination. Pretty much everyone who gets saved during those premonitions ends up dead by the end of their movies. Not a single... I don't think I've seen a single Final Destination movie where everyone lives, or anyone lives. Quite frankly. And if they do, they die at the end anyways, or in the next movie.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what happens, they cannot escape death. So I would rather take my chances. It's gonna hurt like a motherfucker, but I actually have a chance to live in a Saw trap, whereas in Final Destination, I'm just fucked no matter what. Might as well just accept it. There's no getting away. You know, you could survive for 2 whole movies and die anyways. Claire had to put herself in a padded room in a hospital in order to escape death, and it's only because she got involved in the shit again that she died.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. Are you sticking with your Final Destination answer, though? Because I'm definitely going Saw on this one.
Yeah, I'm just sticking with Final Destination.
Okay, I would be curious to hear your plan to escape death.
I don't have a plan.
Fair enough. Would you rather have to explore the woods from the Blair Witch or swim in the ocean from Jaws?
Ooh.
I'm going with the woods because I can't swim very well. But I also feel like my chances of survival with a shark are higher than that with an evil witch.
Yeah.
Sharks get a bad rap. They're really not that interested in hurting people. It's almost always an accident. It's like, yeah, they don't usually don't do it out of malicious intent. They don't see very well. They think you're a seal.
That.
You know, but like, yeah, I don't know. It's Blair Witch Woods for me because I can't swim very well, so I'd be fucked in Jaws. You know,
Jaws.
Any
Jaws for me.
Any horror movie that takes place in the water, I'm just dead immediately. Like, I'm done. There's nothing. You know, so Deep Blue Sea, Jaws, all that shit. Like, I'm just screwed. But
yeah.
Okay, so you're gonna swim with the shark. You would rather swim with the sharks than spend a night in the woods with a evil witch.
Yep.
I mean, that's reasonable. That's the reasonable answer. But I can't swim, so I'm just gonna take my chances in the haunted woods. Why not? So
Fair enough.
Yeah.
More power to you.
Okay. Who would you rather visit you in your nightmares? Freddy Krueger from Nightmare on Elm Street or Pinhead from Hellraiser? Keep in mind that they both have powers to hurt you in your dreams. Hence the comparison.
Which do you have a higher survival rate?
Well, it depends on what you consider survival, because in the Hellraiser movies, it's not so much that people die as it is they get eternally tortured through sadist BDSM shit. Freddy Krueger, though, he'll just straight up kill you. And he finds creative ways to do it. In the third movie, he took this one guy and he basically ripped the veins out of his arms and used them as puppet strings to make him walk off a roof.
Jesus Christ.
Yep.
God damn.
I know. That was in the third movie too. Like, that was gore ahead of its time. Like, it's to this day, that scene is still really hard for me to watch because that's just like black, you know. Like, that's that practical gore, man. It'll get you sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, it's not really the bloody squishy stuff. It's the painful shit like that, like people getting their fingernails ripped off and, you know, that kind of shit. You know. Yeah. I can see
bones crunching.
I can see heads explode all day long and be fine, but there's a part where there's some gore that's just visceral. And that's why it's like, yeah, it's like almost too real. Like, it's painful to watch because you're just like imagining it. And it's like, ugh.
Yeah.
It's the slow, torturous stuff that really does it, you know?
Yep.
So, oh man, this is a hard one.
Oh man.
Either way, you're pretty screwed, but I'm gonna say Pinhead, I guess. I don't know what else.
Yeah, Pinhead.
Although you can fight back against Freddy in your dreams if you know what you're doing, but not everyone does.
No, I would die.
Okay. Somebody has knocked on your front door or rang your doorbell or whatever. You look through the peephole. Who would you rather see looking back at you from the other side? The masked people from The Strangers or the masked people from The Purge?
You don't win either way.
No, you don't. No, you don't. Both of those things.
You die either way.
The Strangers is based on a true event, which makes it even worse.
Yeah.
That movie creeped my mom and sister out. The Strangers. They said that one because it's like so real, like a thing that could actually happen. You know, it's not like, you know, like paranormal stuff and fantasy stuff. Like, it's just people in people in a mask doing a home invasion. The Purge is more fantastical because it imagines a dystopian future where the Purge is an actual thing. But yeah, either way, pretty screwed. Although in the Purge universe, I imagine you would have some kind of protection for your home because you'd be ready for this inevitability.
Yeah.
The Strangers was more of like a stalker type situation. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd have to say the Purge because there's a higher survival chance.
I think I'm gonna have to go with the Purge as well. That is, yeah, that's probably the one. That's probably the one I should go with. Okay. Let's see. Here's a simple one. Here's a
more.
Yep, we'll do a couple more. Here's a simple one, not too complicated. Would you rather become a werewolf or a vampire?
Vampire.
I would have to agree. I'm going to say vampire. I don't know why. They're just kind of something cooler about them.
Yeah.
Plus, I feel like if I was a werewolf, I'd have to worry about dog problems like fleas and shit. And I don't really, you know, like,
right.
I don't want to be an animal, you know. And plus, vampires are immortal. I usually only come out at night anyways, you know. Like,
right.
Okay. Here's a funny one. If you were an Uber driver, who would you rather, like, you go to pick someone up, they get in your back seat, you look back there, and it's either Jeffrey Dahmer or Ted Bundy. Who would you rather? Yeah, I mean, you're fucked regardless, but, you know, like... I feel like Dahmer did some really bad things to people.
Dahmer also targeted primarily men.
Yeah, there's that, too.
At least I would have a higher survival rate with Bundy because he only killed. I said, didn't he only kill women?
I think so, maybe. But, you know, for this hypothetical situation, pretend that, you know, you're in danger regardless.
At least Bundy was good looking.
He said, at least I'll be killed by a handsome man. Okay. Yeah, we're probably going to go with that because, I mean, they were both fucked up individuals, but arguably I think Dahmer was more fucked up.
Yeah.
Okay.
He would eat people.
Okay, so imagine you're in a horror movie. Would you rather have the movie end... Well, imagine you're in a horror movie scenario. You're not in a movie. You're in a scenario from a horror movie. This is real. Which would you rather have happened? You are the sole survivor among your friends, or they all survive and you die.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's a tough one. You gonna sacrifice yourself to save all their lives, or you gonna...
Yes.
You know...
Sacrifice myself to save all their lives. Yes.
Become a martyr. Yeah, that is the selfless thing to do. That is the selfless thing to do. And I want to say that's what I would do because it's the right thing to do. But if I'm being honest, if my survival instinct really kicked in, it would probably come down to an every man for himself scenario. Like, look, if the killer caught you and you're fucked anyways, I'm not running back and trying to pull you from them. You're at this point, you're a distraction for me to get out faster. I don't know what to tell you because if I come back and try to save you, then we're both gonna die at that point.
Yeah.
You know, so, yeah. I don't know. I don't want to be the sole survivor, but chances are that you know, I'm a bit of a coward, so I might end up being just by accident. you know, like they just never found me because I was hiding in a cabinet the whole time, listening to the screams of agony out there.
Right.
Oh shit. Yeah, that's too good. That is way too good. Okay. Ooh, let's see here. I've got do like, you know, 2 or 3 more. Okay. Okay. Would you rather be abducted by aliens or be abducted by the killer hillbillies from Wrong Turn?
Aliens. 'Cause at least they let you go.
Well, in some lore, but not all, some aliens kill. You know.
Yeah.
We just talked about xenomorphs earlier. And
You're not wrong.
Some aliens take you on adventures across the galaxy, and then eventually you grow up to become a superhero with a band of friends.
Are we talking
you know,
about the
that's-
probing kind of aliens?
Well, there's the other thing, too. You might just get, you know, a tube up your ass and then dropped off in the middle of a cow field. You know?
That.
Oh, but yeah, the hillbillies from movies like Wrong Turn and The Hills Have Eyes.
You don't survive.
You don't. They do some fucked up shit. They do some fucked up shit.
Yes.
Okay. Would you rather be locked in a haunted insane asylum or be lost in haunted woods?
Ooh, I don't know.
I know
Oh my God.
they're both spooky and fucked up, but I feel like in the woods at least there is maybe, well, I don't know, because the woods it's easier to get lost if it all looks the same, but during the day there would be more light. But the asylum, you could at least see where the outside is through the windows, even if you're locked in, and maybe you could find a way to break out.
Right.
Oh, yeah, that is a tough one.
Man, I don't know. I'm gonna have to say pass on this one.
What? No, there's no pass. There is.
God damn it.
Um, I'm gonna go with the woods because at least there's the comfort of nature there to some degree, and insane asylums are just like abandoned asylums in general are just inherently creepy in the day and night. It doesn't matter,
Yeah,
They're just
I have
like
to agree. Haunted
and
woods.
yeah, they're both haunted, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like the types of ghosts you'd see in an asylum are way more horrifying than the types of ghosts you'd see in the woods.
Uh-huh.
But maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just me. Okay. Would you rather have dinner with Hannibal Lecter or the family from Texas Chainsaw? Either way, you're eating something nasty. But with Hannibal Lecter, it's gonna be people. But he's a really good chef, so at least it'll taste good. With the Chainsaw family, you don't know what you're getting. And it's some kind of blobby slop. It may or may not be animal. Who knows? And it tastes like shit.
At least Hannibal Lecter would make it taste good.
Yes, but also you might be the next course, so there's that too.
That.
Hell, there was a scene from the one movie where he was sitting there, he had the guy's head cut open, and he was taking pieces of his brain out while he was still alive and cooking it up and serving it to him, making him eat pieces of his own brain.
That's so fucked.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I'm glad that I've seen pretty much every movie that we've talked about here. I have that context.
No, man, no.
I mean, he's called Hannibal the Cannibal for a reason. And that, by the way, he was played in that movie by Sir Anthony Hopkins, and he did a fantastic job. Also in Silence of the Lambs. But But yeah. But Hannibal was more about him. Man. Oh, this is gonna sound horrible, but I guess we're going with Hannibal, man. I can't, it is what it is.
Hannibal. Yeah.
It is what it is. It is what it is. Okay, we will do one more, and then we'll call it. Let's see. Okay. Would you rather wake up in the middle of the night to find, sitting on the chair across from the room staring at you, Annabelle or Chucky?
Chucky.
Chucky? That was a quick answer.
Fuck Annabelle. No.
But they're both bad. Chucky...
I know. At least Chucky is funny.
Well, that's true. He is funny. Yeah. Yeah, but like, I mean, Annabelle is creepy, but she doesn't actually get up and move around on her own, right? It's more of like a ghost attached to her.
Yes.
That's
what. That
so
and porcelain dolls creep me out.
So she's more like an object with a ghost attached to her, whereas Chucky is an actual living doll that walks around and talks and shit. So
yes.
I guess you do have a higher survival chance with him because he's like a fucking doll, right? You just kick him across the room, you know?
That.
But Annabelle's got a full-on angry ghost attached to her, so that's a different story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Part of the Conjuring...
Fuck porcelain dolls. I cannot stand porcelain dolls.
Part of the Conjuring universe, by the way, along with The Nun.
I need to watch The Nun too.
Yeah, The Nun was introduced in The Conjuring 2, by the way, I believe.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, I remember doing a little VR experience for that on the old Samsung Gear VR on the phone, and it was
okay.
It was creepy. They took you through the upper floors of the house, and like you go into you go to the bedroom, and some crazy shit happens, and then like the lightning flashes, and the lights come back on, and the wall, all the paintings on the wall have been replaced with upside down crosses, and then the nun jump scares you, and then it ends, and then it's like The Nun coming to theaters, or Conjuring 2 coming to theaters, or something like that at the time.
Fair
Yeah,
enough.
it was fun. But, yeah. What was it we just decided? Oh, yeah, Chucky. Definitely,
Chucky.
yeah. Gonna have to agree with that one. But, okay. Well, there are plenty more of horror-themed Would You Rather questions, but we'll save them for another time, because that's going to be it for this episode.
Yes.
I hope you all enjoyed it. That was fun. I really like discussing these horror-themed hypotheticals, because
Yes.
when you consider what's at stake here, those questions are way harder than normal Would You Rather questions.
Yeah.
But that was really fun. So yeah, folks, let me know in the comments down below what your answers to some of these would have been if you're watching this on YouTube, and also smash that like button. Or you can send me an email. That's at podcastoversoul@gmail.com, or message me on Twitter at oversoul53.
You can find me on Twitter at The Vaping Fiend, and over on TikTok at The Vaping Fiend.
Yep. And until next time, everybody, happy Halloween, stay safe out there, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.
Bye. Hörde min vignebröst.